There's a dead man in my closet, and my husband is banging on the wall of my guest room. Bang, bang, bang. It's been going on for hours now, since the last sliver of daylight disappeared. And I don't know which room terrifies me more. My name is Dusty. 3 days ago, I was celebrating 36 years of marriage with Terry. We sat in our usual booth at Ruby's, slicing into the exact same cuts of steak and sipping the same wine we'd ordered on our very first date. We held each other close under the sheets that night. Nearly 4 decades together. And that warmth still felt like something worth protecting. Everything was perfect. Except Terry had died that morning. I know how that sounds. Just stay with me. Terry was a deep sleeper his whole life, the kind of deep that scared me sometimes. 5 years ago, the doctors put him on a CPAP machine because he'd actually stopped breathing in the night. Obstructive sleep apnea. His airway would collapse the second his head hit the pillow. And that machine was the only thing keeping the air moving. I'd gotten so used to its sound I barely noticed it anymore. A low, rhythmic, metallic drone. White noise. The sound of Terry being alive. It was a Wednesday. Our anniversary. I slipped out of bed without rustling the blankets, brewed a pot of coffee, and clicked the bathroom door shut behind me. Wednesdays were his only days to sleep in. I washed. Dried off. Stepped back into the dim bedroom. Happy anniversary, babe. Coffee's ready. Nothing. No shift in the sheets. The mask was still clamped over his face. And the room was silent. Not quiet. Silent. The kind of silence that registers before your brain knows why. I stood there in 2 towels, water dripping down my neck, and realized I couldn't hear the machine. I stretched out my bare leg and nudged his foot. It felt like frozen marble. Stiff. Unyielding. I ripped the mask off. Lifted him. Pressed my ear flat against his chest and listened for something that wasn't there. No heartbeat. No breath. His skin had already taken on a dull, mottled purple hue. Along his cheek, deep red marks ran in lines where the straps had been. Like he'd spent his final seconds frantically trying to claw the plastic off his face. And failed. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I just stood there. Wet hair. Minutes blurring into hours. My eyes stayed completely dry. It was like my brain simply barred the door and refused to let any of it in. So I pulled the sheets up over his face, clicked the bedroom door shut, and took my keys. I drove to the library. I don't remember a single street. I don't remember any of the red lights. I know. When I got there, the morning staff was already waiting by the glass doors. I let them in, walked toward my office, and rounded the corner into the main lobby, and that's where Melanie was standing. Frozen. Staring at the smoky mirrored staircase at the center of the hall. Her jaw slightly slack, her eyes carrying the look of someone watching something they couldn't explain. Then she saw me. The look vanished behind her usual smile. She waved and went upstairs. I walked over to that glass. My reflection looked hollowed out. I'd never really examined that mirror before. The surface was dark, almost oil slick. Hypnotic in a way I couldn't name. Something invisible pulled me closer. Then, a flash of movement, right over my shoulder, inside the reflection. I whipped around. Empty carpet. Just the faint clatter of mugs from the break room. I turned back. And Terry was standing right behind me in the glass. My pulse didn't spike. I didn't look back over my shoulder. I already knew the air behind me was empty. But inside that smoky surface, he was right there, watching me with those familiar, gentle eyes. So I lifted my hand and pressed my palm against the surface. Cold, smooth, like touching the skin of a frozen lake. And then something pushed back from the inside. Gently at first, then with terrifying pressure. 5 fingertips aligned with mine. Then a palm. Then a pale forearm. A heavy shoulder. Terry's face broke through the solid glass, like a body rising out of black water without a single ripple. He stepped fully into the lobby and smiled at me. His smile, the one from our first date, in this exact building, 36 years ago. Before a single word could leave my mouth, Tanya walked out from the break room. "Morning, Dusty. Oh wow, Terry came in with you today. Happy anniversary, guys. How are those backyard tomatoes doing, Terry?" Terry's smile locked in place. He raised a hand and waved. His lips never parted. His spine stayed perfectly rigid. But he smiled and he waved, and Tanya just waved back like nothing in the world was wrong. I took his hand, it felt burning hot, almost feverish, and led him straight out to the car. I called in sick from the steering wheel. We drove home in silence. The second we stepped through the front door, the smell hit the back of my throat. Sweet. Heavy. The unmistakable stench of something biological and wrong. The other Terry was still down the hall, under those sheets. I turned to my husband. "Help me with him," I whispered. He didn't speak. He hadn't made a sound since stepping out of the glass. But he nodded and reached down to help me lift the weight. And that's when I saw his face. He was looking down into the dead man's face and smiling. That same smile, widening just a fraction, in a way that had nothing to do with warmth. We carried the body to the hallway closet. He didn't strain, didn't shift his grip, didn't breathe harder. For 36 years I knew exactly what my husband looked like when he was carrying something heavy. This thing didn't struggle at all. I slammed the closet door and didn't look at him for hours. But that night, we put on our nice clothes. We drove to Ruby's. We had our anniversary dinner. I had my Terry back, and I chose not to think about the rest. That was 3 days ago. I haven't been back to the library. This morning a news notification appeared on my phone. Bobby, the night shift custodian at the library, was dead. They found his body inside a ventilation shaft on the 3rd floor. He'd used a utility knife to carve the words "Are you scared?" into his own chest, before gouging out both of his eyes. The timeline in the report made my stomach drop. The coroner estimated he crawled into that duct on Wednesday morning. The exact hour I was standing at that mirror. The exact minute those fingers pressed through from the other side. Bobby had been cleaning that lobby. He saw the whole thing happen. And whatever he watched come through that glass, he decided he'd rather never see anything again than risk laying eyes on it twice. My phone hasn't stopped vibrating. Staff members. Library board. 2 calls from an unlisted number. The police have opened a full investigation. And Terry. He hasn't spoken a single word in 72 hours. He gets volatile now. Disoriented. Like something behind his eyes loses the signal. A few hours ago I guided him into the guest room and closed the door. Told him through the wood to stay put until I figured things out. The second the sun went down, the noise started. Bang, bang, bang. Fists into the wall. Continuous. Only getting heavier. Rattling the floorboards under my feet. And just down the hall, behind a cheap latch, is the other one. Wrapped in soiled sheets I'm too afraid to ever look at again. I can't call the police. They'll open that closet. And then they'll take whatever is in that guest room away from me. But the truth is pushing through whether I want it to or not. Whatever came through that mirror. It isn't Terry. It just wore his face long enough to get inside my house. And judging by what's happening to that door right now, it's done pretending. I don't know what's on the other side of that guest room door. I don't know what's in my closet. What I know is this. Grief makes you a fool. It makes you press your hands against glass that should never be touched. It makes you invite something across your threshold, simply because it has the same eyes as the man you lost. The banging just stopped, and I can hear the doorknob, slowly, starting to turn.